What's up, man? We're back. It's been more than a couple minutes if you ask me, but I got some stuff to talk about. So I took a few weeks out in Europe, spent a week in Rome, spent a week in Albania, and spent a week in the motherland, Kosovo. This video is going to be about my personal experience in Rome, 3 pros, 3 cons, and some honorable mentions, and hopefully that helps somebody out that's watching and maybe thinking about taking a trip to Rome, already has an itinerary planned out, but we'll get right into that. So, I went to Rome a couple weeks ago. This was mid to late August, about August 18th to the 24th of 2024, and first and foremost, it was hot as hell.
So how fucking lucky am I to be in Rome on the hottest day of the year? Huh?
Yes.
Right? What's today? Like 94?
Today it's 105 today.
105 degrees?
105 degrees.
Well, I feel like I'm Jesus
Fahrenheit.
Christ himself, dog.
Yeah.
That's going to be on my list here. It was hot, so make sure you're checking the temperature. I cannot stress that enough. Check the weather before you go, check when you do go, check every single day, and plan accordingly. Let's go ahead and take a couple steps back here. Let's start with my top 3 things I enjoyed about my trip to Rome, Italy. Peep the hat, Italia. Got that in Rome. Number 1. Now, I love history. If you're a history buff, you'll probably agree with me yourself, but I really enjoyed just how unique the experience was in Rome, exploring and experiencing the history, the artifacts, the ruins. You're walking amongst some insane historical achievements. The Roman concrete, we can't even recreate that now, I'm pretty sure. So, secondly, the Colosseum, the Pantheon, the Trevi Fountain, the Spanish Steps. A whole lot of side quests, so to speak, because you can just find a lot of old churches. I think it was like the Church of Mary. A lot of neat stuff that you can stumble upon in Rome that you probably will not find easily on YouTube or wherever you do your historical research. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for any and every history buff out there. Now, for the tours, like the Vatican and the Colosseum especially, I highly recommend that you spend a little bit extra and get a guided tour, because these tour guides know a whole lot more than you probably do, especially if it's your first time out there. There's a lot to take in, and you will probably find yourself puzzled and probably skipping over a lot of really neat, important stuff if you don't have a guided tour. Now, a lot of these guided tours go a little faster than some might like, so feel free to ask your tour guide for a copy of your ticket, and once your tour is over, you could go ahead and return to the Colosseum, the Vatican, wherever you had your guided tour, and take a look for yourself. Take as much time as you can, and that's my little 2 cents about some guided tours. And before I continue, if you are with people who maybe are a little less interested in history, people who don't enjoy walking, try and rush through things, I recommend maybe don't go with those individuals, or just anticipate some compromise, because I personally went with my parents and my sister, and I did notice that they did want to go through the tours or the museum a little bit faster than I would have liked, and so I kind of had to rush a little bit more than I would have liked. It's not a big deal, just a compromise, so keep that in mind. Second pro, the food. Now, obviously, the best Italian food is going to be in Italy. I don't know which city in Italy has the best food. Go ahead and leave a comment down below if you have an opinion or any advice in that regard. But the pizza, the pasta, the breakfast, the in-house pasta, and all the variations, some of the best food I've ever had in my life. And the pricing is ridiculously affordable, especially for somebody coming from California, San Jose, California. So you won't find yourself spending more than like 15-20 bucks for pretty decent sit-down dinner in Rome. You could see the Colosseum from some of your restaurants. You could see some pretty amazing stuff right from your dinner table. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I highly recommend having a slice of pizza with the Colosseum in the backdrop. That's There's nothing like it. But I will say one thing, Aperol spritzes were way overhyped, and I wouldn't recommend it. Get yourself a mojito, Moscow Mule, something you'll enjoy, okay? Now, the third pro is that there's a whole lot of tourism, of course, and so you can make some pretty cool friends from everywhere around the world, because you will find yourself, sharing your experiences, maybe verbalizing how amazing you might find something. Somebody else might agree with you, and before you know it, you guys hit it off. You could become best friends, lovers, who knows. You can meet all kinds of neat people from all over the world in Rome. Now, I will say that the locals might be a little less likely to engage in conversation, especially if they're working, but you have a lot of European travelers, solo travelers, students who might be taking a short summer trip to Rome, things like that, and you get a lot of cool stories. So make sure you practice that social bone, go out and talk to people if you're out in Rome, and see what you can find out. Now, since this is a top 3 and a bottom 3 list, I did have to make some cons. If you're from Rome or if you're Italian, this is not to be taken too seriously, take it lightly. It's just a top 3 and a bottom 3 list, it's not that serious. Number 1, Reddit said it, I didn't listen. If you're going to Italy, learn some Italian. The locals will really appreciate it from what I gathered and from what I could tell, because I didn't speak any Italian and I probably seemed just like an arrogant, uncultured swine to them, I don't know. But it's well worth it. Secondly, the Italian food is great, the pizza, the pasta, leave comments below in terms of what other Italian cuisine might be readily available, but if you're going to Italian food spots for every meal of every day that you're in Rome, I will say you'll probably get pretty quickly tired of Italian cuisine, so anticipate that. There's a whole lot of options outside of Italian food. You have your halal spots, you got your chicken spots, burger spots, traditional American fast food spots. You won't be hard pressed to find a McDonald's or like a Burger King. So make sure you're spreading your Italian cuisines out evenly throughout your trip so you don't get sick of it. And the more often you go to pizza pasta spots, the more likely you are to find a really bad one. And the last thing you want in Rome is to have a bad experience with pizza or pasta. Now, my third and final con is what I was mentioning earlier. During the summer, it gets very, very hot in Rome, and you're going to be doing a lot of walking if you're experiencing it correctly, because there's a lot of space in between historical locations. So the extremely dense crowds and the lack of shade don't help at all, but there's something like 4,500, correct me if I'm wrong, 4,500 plus water fountains that have running drinking water, and that is a lifesaver. So make sure you bring a water bottle with you that you refill, don't throw it away, and you should be okay in the heat. Just plan for it. I almost passed out on the Spanish Steps. I ran all the way up there, wasn't drinking much water, came down. I thought, I'm young, I'm in my prime, I'm straight. I started getting dizzy, I had to chug some water and take a seat because I didn't realize I was walking around all day on the hottest day of the year in Rome. Just how it be sometimes. So that's my experience in a nutshell in Rome. I'm certainly going to go back, probably take a solo trip, take my time at the Vatican a little more and the Colosseum, but do what you will with this information. If you do plan on taking a trip to Rome, make sure you plan an itinerary. My sister did that for me, so I don't know what app or website she used, but it certainly helped move things along much easier, because if it was up to me and I went in with the lack of planning that I had, we probably wouldn't have got to see even half of what we saw. So make sure you plan an itinerary. That's a little honorable mention. It's not a pro or a con, just a little piece of advice. And thank you for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and do a separate video for my experience in Albania and Kosovo and the pros and cons for each, but go ahead and hit the like button if you find this potentially helpful, or if you enjoyed this. Hit subscribe while you're here, because why not? It's free. And enjoy your trip to Rome. Peace.